No relationship will survive without investment. This goes down to even a house plant.
And now for something completely different.
Welcome to
Surrounded by Idiots
Radio Podcast.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time once again for the Surrounded by Idiots Radio Podcast. This is Tony Dufresne, PhD, your host. Welcome back. I hope everybody is good around the globe. Here in the U.S., it's as the dumpster fire as it has been, but we're going to move on and forward from that. And what I want to do this week is I want to pay a little bit of a tribute to one of my mentors in education, and that's Sir Ken Robinson. And he just passed I think it was August the 20th or 21st. And when I heard the news, the first thing I wanted to do was just go back and watch his TED Talks. Now, if you're not familiar with Ken Robinson, he's the education expert. He's the professor, the guy who's been advocating for an evolution, more like a revolution in education in terms of the way, especially in the United States, that we do it and the flaws of the system that have been perpetuated over the years. And as a matter of fact, I think his TED Talk, the first one that he did in 2006, is the most watched TED Talk of all time. I think it's like 70 million people or something. So when I was going through and watching his talks again, he has three major ones on TED. He was speaking about systems of education and the ones that were effective and the ones that were not. And he compared a bad system to a good system. And of course, that was the U.S. system of education to the Finland school system. And he talked about specific things that the Finland education system did, or how it was set up, that was different from the U.S. system, that made it way more effective. And as he was speaking about these points, the thing occurred to me was these points are exactly the same as a good relationship system versus a bad relationship system. And I thought maybe if I shared those with you in that context, then that would help at least provide some level of guidance, a good level of guidance moving forward in your relationship with yourself, as well as all the people around you, be it intimate relationships, family, friends, or at work. He indicated Finland's approach to effective learning included, number one, they had no emphasis on standardized testing. Now, they had some standardized testing, but it was more for a diagnostic tool, more for kind of an understanding of where they were at versus something that's going to create the system itself, like we do here in the U.S. They use standardized testing to place everybody in these small boxes. They don't do that in Finland. So that was the first thing. They don't use standardized testing the way we do here. The second point was they emphasized all aspects of learning, including arts and physical education. It was a broad spectrum. It was the whole spectrum of learning that they emphasized, not just STEM, not just math and science and English, which are very important, but they're not the only things. The third thing he said Finland did better than the U.S. was they engaged the individual student's curiosity, individuality, and creativity. They didn't try to fit them all into, again, one standardized box. The fourth and final thing that Finland does better than the U.S. is they recognize and support the value of teachers, and they invest in their personal development. It is a profession. It is a very important profession, and they recognize that, and they support it. And I know for a fact, based upon personal experience and indirect experience through other parents and teachers, because I know a lot of teachers, that doesn't happen here a whole bunch. So how do those 4 points relate to the perfect relationship model? How can we take those 4 points and use them as the perfect guide to establishing and perfecting our relationship skills? Well, let's go through these. So the first one is the standardized testing, or no standardized testing. And the essence of the standardized testing is to compare, which means in a relationship context, it's about accepting differences and uniqueness in yourself and in the people that are around you. It's not about comparing yourself or other people to other people. It's about accepting who that person is or who you are and being okay with it. And understanding that there's a level of uniqueness and individuality with you and with other people. The second point with the education thing was the emphasizing all aspects of learning, including the arts and physical education, which perfectly translates into a relationship context about holistic balance and accepting broader interests, accepting other people's interests in other things. Also, creating a variety of experiences in your own life as well as maybe your life in an intimate relationship. You have to emphasize or work all the muscles out in your life, mental, emotional, spiritual. And I think this past pandemic situation has given us a little more perspective on the importance of getting out and interacting and experiencing different things in life versus keeping ourselves in a very small box and isolated. The third point was engaging the individual student's curiosity, individuality, and creativity, which could mean in a relationship context, taking the action ourselves to seek things that are individual interests to ourselves that we are curious about, and then allow ourselves to immerse into those things in a creative process, like taking a class or going online, just researching things that are interesting to you and finding out that there's just not one version of that thing that's interesting to you. It's like going online and searching painting because you happen to like painting and finding that there are different types of paint, there are different ways to paint, there are different formats that you can do, there are different brushes that you can use. There are so many different aspects to that maybe you were not aware of unless you got in there and started that creative process and embraced your individual nature of what works for you. I told you a couple weeks ago, I had my tattoo extended, and my tattoo artist is an amazing artist, and she works with oil and canvas, and we were talking about different modes that she has explored, and she's gone into all sorts of different things, watercolors, and she tried a little bit of sculpting, but it just didn't resonate with her, but she gave it a shot just to see if that would be something else that she'd be interested in or more interested in. So it's important that not only are you embracing your level of individuality and creativity, but you're mining a little deeper in terms of your creativity or what kind of turns you on about that. Because there are so many other layers to everything, and you cannot see those layers until you sit on the first one and then you start digging from there. So the fourth point that they made from the education system differences was the recognizing and supporting the value of teachers and investing in their personal development, which is a perfect example in a relationship context to recognizing and supporting the value of teachers, classes, and therapists, and also the people around you that have different perspectives or have a deeper understanding of other things in life that you can learn from, and being open to their perspective. That's recognizing value in other people's perspective, other people's intelligence, other people's experiences. And you learn a lot if you can open yourself up to that. And then there's the investing in personal development, which is essential to move forward. It's more about recognizing your own value, accepting the fact that you do have value, and even in the things that you feel maybe are more for self-indulgence, may not be the case, because the more you invest in yourself and in your passions and in your curiosities, the more fulfilled you will become. And in the process of being fulfilled, in those situations, you're able to give more. You're able to be more present for other people when you feel as though you are in a good place. And that's really what it comes down to. And investing in personal development is you being okay putting money towards that class, you being okay buying that guitar, you being okay paying that $150 for that therapy appointment. Because it's important to invest in yourself and to invest in the relationship. No relationship will survive without investment. This goes down to even a house plant. The plant will not survive if you don't invest in its life by taking care of it, by watering it, by giving it a little bit of food. Everything organic needs investment. And if you want to be a part of that organic relationship, you need to step up and invest in it. So the best call to action would be just to take those 4 things and to write them down somewhere and to just remind yourself to pattern interrupt at the beginning, or to set yourself up at the beginning of the day to follow these 4 things, or just to have them in your mind. And the 4 things are: accept differences and the uniqueness of you and other people around you. Continue to broaden your horizons and also exercise all of those muscles that you have and incorporate a variety of experiences into your life. Embrace your curiosity, embrace your individuality, and feed your creativity. And last but not least, recognize the value of the teachers around you and invest in your own personal development. And just those 4 things encapsulates everything you need to create a perfect relationship with yourself and with the people that are around you. I hope you enjoyed that. That's all I got today. If you want anything else, you can go to javabud.com, JAVABUD. My audiobook is up on Amazon. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always get a hold of me at tony@javabud.com, JAVABUD. Like I told you, get ready. Towards the end of the year, I'm going to be offering a whole new side to things geared more towards professional women's empowerment. If you have anything that you would like to talk about in regards to that, you can get a hold of me and let me know. I'm also on Alexa Flash Briefings, and you can watch this on YouTube at The Java Bud. Hope things are good. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.